So here I am in the furcation. Let's just say I hang out, become friendly. The best way really for me is just to do it very, very slowly. That's the other part of this whole periphery thing. So it's almost like a form of procrastination. Try to avoid the actual thing that you want to do. Okay, again, I have to be very careful about that cap. No leverage on the cap. Like I said, don't do what you're supposed to do. Do everything else except that one thing. Okay, what we can do is put this thing back in the furcation. So I start with a known entity, and then see, I'm starting to get the paranoia. Maybe for good reason, too. Yeah, for real good reason. I'm getting the paranoia because I'm right next to the cap. Okay, so what does that tell me, huh? Well, what I do is I pull down, and I don't pull down very hard. Okay, so let's go back to my main job, which is to use the furcation as a base of operations against the calculus in the front of the molar. Okay, so it's pretty clear if I can smooth the calculus in the furcation, it will create a better base. So I might as well try to exhaust it. It doesn't seem like it's that dirty. Yeah, just a few little pieces. So the other answer for that furcation is that it's very likely I already cleaned the inside out. I can come from the outside and go into the furcation too. So again, and that's something I should do anyway. This is getting a little far afield. Let's just take a look there. Yeah, it's got to be calculus too. You know, this is right next to the cap. There's also the other side of the molar, which eventually has to get dealt with. And then also, what I'm discovering is that it really takes a chisel to get this stuff to come loose. So maybe I can get some practice with chiseling. Maybe I'm just going to have to chisel it out. See, what I do here is just try to stick the thing in. Okay, now this cannot be bone. It just cannot possibly be bone. See, this builds up my confidence. See, I don't normally do this. I don't normally chisel this stuff. I mean, actually, I do sometimes. It just is not my normal way. And also to consider, ultimately, this tooth has to be girdled. I have to go all the way around the tooth, and I can't take any excuses. You know, it's too hard. That's not a good excuse. See, it's got calculus in one place. Why would the harder place be exempted? And then you see the bleed. That proves that it's calculus. The pieces are small. That proves I'm not accomplishing much. It does add up. And also, maybe it's not that thick. You never know. But this is going to have to be done too. So if I do this abscess and then it reforms in the other place and then it starts to hurt, and I haven't done anything to set it up, then I have to do this chiseling when it's in a traumatized state. So that's not so good. So it's better to do some of these preps now. It's a lot like painting. You prep the walls. You want a nice job. You prep. Don't paint. Are you going to paint? Well, I will, yeah, eventually. Even though it's real slow, it does make progress. Basically just figure spend all day at this. Something that needs to get done anyway. This will loosen me up. See, here's where you get into trouble, see? What happens is I slip, and then I slice up the gum. That's what happens right here, see? Actually, this is not such a dumb idea. This is my whole philosophy. See, if I go further afield, I get some depth. I can come across with greater depth. I'm not so dependent on that furcation. There's nothing wrong with it, really. Has to be done anyway. Okay, granted, it puts off the abscess, but, you know, I'm confident I will get to that abscess. I will get to it. Here, see, nothing wrong with this. Here. And I got a pretty big blob there. Then eventually I get big blobs. Now, I'm not that concerned about the trauma yet. And in some ways, I just forget about the trauma. It just is what it is. See, I do these long sessions. It doesn't make that much of a difference. That's my experience. Could also be there's abscess under there too. The abscess is not always where you think it is. Okay, now here. See? Here. Here. Okay, now. Okay, so you're getting blood. So, I think what I do now is don't fight the blood. Just follow along in the track. Okay, what's happening there is the gums were opening up a little bit. So, it's possible that I'm starting to get close to the abscess. You can see I went far away from the abscess. As I came across, I got a favorable angle. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go far away again. It also tends to open up the gums too. What I'm going to try to do is make it to this far corner. Okay, I have a feeling this abscess is starting to break. See how you're just getting blood? It's starting to bleed spontaneously. That's a positive sign that the abscess is starting to break loose. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this is what I got so far, which it doesn't look that significant, but it is. There's probably about 20 fairly small pieces, plus there's a number of other pieces in there too that are just not bloody, so you can't really see them very well. Okay, so let's keep going, because if I take the break, the gums will start to close up again, and I don't want that to happen.